I am starting to think that somebody's coming after the show. My internet don't go down any other time during the day. It's only when I do this show. Welcome back, everybody. So the last thing I was talking about was the fact that there's a level of chaos that we have all been living under for the last 4 years. And I'll be honest with you, it's a little bit of PTSD. We have become accustomed to the outright madness of nonstop, intense, dramatic news stories in addition to 2020 and COVID-19. And while I don't think we can't afford to go back to sleep. I think some of us we were lulled to sleep underneath the Obama administration, and we were not actively organizing and fighting the way we should have been fighting. The fact of the matter is that we do need some calmness. There has to be a way for us to get progress without the madness, right? We cannot constantly live in a state of all day long hyper sensitive, hyper aware, just nonstop. I think the madness has trickled down, right? Wealth didn't trickle down, right? Prosperity didn't trickle down. None of that trickled down. You know what trickled down? The madness, the intensity, the nonstop ridiculousness of our news cycle. And that takes a toll on us. And I think that has trickled down all the way down to everyone's everyday life, because it's not just political theater. A lot of people like to dismiss what's going on around the world as political theater and it doesn't really affect your life. But this really affects your life. When it comes down to it, it really affects our everyday life. And I think that's one of the number one things that we make a mistake on. Knowing that we have to fight still. This is not to lull anyone to sleep. Things are not going to be fixed just because Joe Biden wins. So that doesn't mean to go to brunch and don't do any politics, don't do any organizing. But hopefully it does mean we can go to brunch and organize. Like we can sit in a coffee shop and have some peace as we organize how we make things better. Right now, it's been non-stop chaos. I have a level of calmness and peace in my household because we're quarantined. You know, I would work all day. I would hustle. I never stop hustling, never stop hustling. It was nonstop, and I'll go to sleep at 2 a.m. And somewhere in that time, I try to be a father and a husband. What COVID has done for us has been to say, shut that down entirely and don't do anything but take care of your family and take care of your health. The opposite side of that is the terrifying reality of the fact that so many people don't have that blessing, the ability to stay home and make their money from home, the ability to provide for their family from home. So many people don't have that blessing. Now you compound that reality. You combine that with the complete sociopathy of these politicians who are trying to force everyone back into public spaces because they're not going to admit it to you. But let me tell you the truth. They are employing a herd immunity strategy. They are employing a herd immunity strategy. And that's going to cost us close to 1 million lives. It's an understatement to say that they don't care about us. But it has to just be said as plainly. They do not care about us. They don't care about us. They see us as just another number. They see us as just cogs in their machine. They see us as the coal in their economic furnace. This particular subject, COVID-19, and the way that they don't care about us, and the fact that I recognize the amount of privilege that I have. Listen, I understand clearly. I am blessed and lucky, depending on what you believe or what you don't believe. I'm blessed and lucky to be able to stay home and thrive. My family has been thriving in this moment because I needed to get out of the streets and just stay my ass home. I'm aware of that, and in everything that I do, I'm fighting, yelling at the top of my lungs for us to provide this for everyone. But not only are they not providing people with the ability to stay home, they're insisting on opening back up and shoving you back into the furnace of their economy. And if it costs 1 million lives, it costs 1 million lives. In the grander scheme of things, at some point in the future, when we can look, hopefully all of us, hopefully everyone listening to me right now, you're safe, and we can collectively look back at this time. The absolute barbarity of our leaders is something that we're going to have to come to terms with. and the fact that we allow them to stay in power. Now, this is COVID-19 is precisely the area where I get pushed to the edges of revolution. I don't go over that edge because I got kids. I don't want to have to send them, send them down to Cuba to be safe from what's happening here in this country. But when I think about the reality of how sadistic and how barbaric our leaders are, and the fact that they will happily shovel 500,000 lives into the furnace of this economy, when every other civilized nation, see, America is uncivilized in this regard. Other nations not only have a better control and better grasp of COVID-19, but they are caring for their citizens. What this madness that we do in the United States of America, this is not normal. And I'm hoping that at some point in the future, when we could look back at this, we could come to terms with the fact that this country broke us. It broke us so much so that we allowed them to kill and we allowed them to stay in power. I cannot enjoy what I have knowing that there are people outside of my doorsteps that are dying because they are essential workers and they can't stay at home. They have to go and stock the groceries. And our country is so barbaric that not only are we not doing anything to help them, but we're actually creating the conditions to make it worse. I've been poor long enough, and I've got enough humanity in me, regardless of most of my life being poor, to understand that what is happening in this country is a goddamn shame. And while we may not have the mindset now to make these politicians pay for killing our brothers and our sisters, at some point, there has to be a reckoning with ourselves first, because we can't have a reckoning with the system unless we have a reckoning with ourselves. And I understand why they remain in power. Because the alternative is a confrontation that we, quite frankly, probably won't win. And it's a confrontation that destabilizes things even more. And for the most part, all of us want a level of stability and peace. And the only thing that I ask myself, and I'm not asking you, I'm not questioning you, I question myself every day, how expensive is this peace? There should not be a single politician in this country, I don't care what party they are part of, that should feel comfortable when so many people have died because our system refused to do what other nations did, what civilized, what non-shithole countries did. And in this case, we are the uncivilized, we are the shithole countries, and we are burning through lives. The Velvet Gentleman on Twitch says, do you think we will see a socialist in the White House in our lifetime? I don't know. Here's the thing, though. I had a conversation with Anand, I cannot pronounce it. I can pronounce his last name, Girdadas. He's an author, Anand Girdadas. And he's an author, he's a contributor with the New York Times. I'll be posting that in tomorrow's podcast. He's a contributor on MSNBC. He's a dude with the really fly hair. It's like gray hair, but it's in waves and a point, Of course, being bald, I take notice of really cool hair. I had a conversation with him today. And the conversation with him was so meaningful because we talked about, here's how we win. This is what he said, and I agree. I don't care what you call me. You could call me a socialist, you could call me a communist, you can call me a neoliberal, you won't call me a fascist. That's the only thing you can't do is call me a fascist. But I don't care the particular identification. Here's how we win. What we're fighting for is fundamentally good and just and right. There's not a reasonable person who is a person of good faith and good conscience who would look at you and disagree with the following statements. We have more homes that are vacant than we have homeless people in this country. And we create enough wealth to not have to seize those properties, but to compensate those owners for those properties and to make sure every person in this country has a place to stay. If we have enough wealth to do that and all of us create that wealth, why do we not do it? Now that's a little cumbersome. Well, I'll find a better way to say it. But the bottom line is we make enough money in this country to make sure that every single person has a place to live, period. If that makes me a socialist, I don't care. What's important is that that's the right thing. That is the right thing to do. And us not doing it is an indictment of our character as a country. So whether or not we'll see a socialist in the White House in our lifetime, I think that's a little bit immaterial, so much as we get somebody in the White House who has that level of conviction about our responsibility to each other because of what all of us collectively create. Jeff Bezos is a billionaire because of you. Every little thing that you order off of Amazon makes him a billionaire. Walmart, the Walton family, they are billionaires because of you. There is no wealth that is generated in this society that is not contributed to by every single one of us. So since we all collectively create this, then we should all collectively benefit from it. And it's the right thing to do. If we create enough wealth to make sure that nobody goes to bed hungry in this country, why on God's green earth would we not do it? So we convince them with the righteousness of our cause. And if that makes me a communist, if that makes me a socialist, I don't care. If you saw somebody on the street and you could help them change their life with your pocket change, an amount so small that you wouldn't even notice, but you have the ability to fundamentally change their life, do you not then have a responsibility to do that? Michael Bloomberg damn near purchased our democracy with his pocket change. He took $1 billion out of his pocket and almost bought this entire democracy. I stopped him with 6 tweets. I didn't say that to humble brag or just outright brag. I said that to say, if this man could buy democracy with his pocket change, does he and do we not have the responsibility to make sure that everybody has a doctor? Because it won't take collectively all of our treasure to do that. They could still be billionaires. Now, if you really push me into a corner and you make me choose between the existence of billionaires and us doing the right thing, then that's a whole different conversation. We can have that conversation. And then you rightfully could call me a communist. Fine. But what I'm trying to tell you is that our greed is going to destroy us. Our greed is going to inevitably destroy us. And we have created a system that rewards greed. We have created a system that rewards us based on the very worst of human nature. The Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil. And we created a system based on the love of money. And evangelicals look at me and call me heretical because I'm a Christian who does not fall into line with the love of money. In fact, I'm the exact opposite. It's like they think the Bible says the hate of money is the root of all evil. That's how evangelicals behave. Like if you have a disdain for greed, then you are the root of all evil. If you really look at it, they think like people who are close to being socialists or communists or whatever, they think that we are the root of all evil. The Bible doesn't. The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. And here we are creating a system that is built on the love of money. So why do you think it's just, even if you don't believe in God, it only makes sense that if you build a system based on greed, you will have endless wars. You're going to have homeless people when you don't have to. You're going to have a system where politicians shovel the lives of people into the furnace of an already teetering economy. Because we built a system built on the love of money, which according to their Bible, the same Bible I read, but apparently they got a different version, is the root of all evil. If I can't convince them about the brokenness of our entire system, forget about them because they don't want to be convinced. We can convince everybody else. 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3. We can convince everybody else that in a system where we make this wealth, this stream that I'm doing right now is generating wealth for YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. It's generating wealth. I'm putting money into the pockets of Mark Zuckerberg right now. You are too by watching this, and our collective activity is generating this wealth. But yet, anytime we try to do something collectively for the good of society, they all of a sudden are like, oh, not my money. You're right. It's not your money. It is ours. We helped create that, and we have created a system that benefits a small percentage of people at the expense of everybody else. But most assuredly, this system is so bastardized that now we are killing people. We're sending people back into bars and clubs just so that we can continue to generate that. We could not pause. We could not pause this system for a week, for 2 weeks. God forbid we would have paused this system for a month where we could have got COVID-19 under control and saved hundreds of thousands of lives. That's how sadistic this system is. We have to actively reject greed. We must actively reject greed. It must be an exercise. It's an active, everyday routine that you have to practice rejecting greed. Because even those of us with the best of intentions can fall prey to it. You just have to make up your mind that what you have is enough, because if you don't consciously make up your mind, you will always be chasing after more. And this is how they perpetuate this system on us. The way they keep us in this system, it's because they keep us wanting what they have. They keep us wanting more. That's the trap. That's how they get us. That's how you get a person who would benefit from breaking this system and putting it back together as something better. But you get a person who's in poverty, who should desire to destroy the system. That's how you get them to protect this system, because that person in poverty wants and desires to have all of that more. They want to protect this system because they want the trappings of this system. But if we ever get to the point where we collectively as a people can say, you know what? I think I have enough. We don't ask that of somebody who doesn't have a home. They don't have enough. We do not ask that of a person who doesn't have health care. They do not have enough. A person who doesn't have food. They do not have enough. A person who can't go and get an education. They do not have enough. We don't ask that. And this is the twisted, sadistic nature of our system. They always ask us to be satisfied with nothing, but they keep us desiring everything. Do you see the game and the gaslighting? They have been gaslighting us for so long. They tell us that we need to be satisfied and find a way to have peace. They give us religion. Right? I'm a religious person. I went to church. I used to, did my thing in church and everything else. But they give us religion for the purposes of satiating the masses. It's the opiate of the masses, right? And it's there to shift our direction from the material conditions that are not met in a society where we make enough wealth to ensure that it is met for everybody. And I hope I'm not moving too fast. I hope you got what I just said. They give us religion to make us pacified and satiated with not having enough. So everything that I'm saying is not relegated to the people who clearly do not have enough. They should never be told that they should be satisfied as a homeless person, as an unhoused person, as a person who can't get health care in a country where we generate enough wealth to make sure that everyone is covered. No. Those are not the people who need to be satisfied. The people who need to find a way to be satisfied and to actively reject greed are those enough who know we've got enough. Everybody who can look around at their life and say, you know what? If I don't add another digit to my salary, I'm good. What happens though is that they get us in that position where we could say, hey, I'm good. And instead of us turning around and saying, how can we make everybody else good? What we have been conditioned to do is say, how do I get more? And in that way, every single one of us who could have made the decision to say, you know what, I'm good. But instead, we were trained and conditioned to say, I gotta have more. In that way, we have played our individual part in sustaining a system that is built on the backs of millions, no, billions of people that we step on so that we could have more, when there could have been a point where we could look around and say, you know what, I'm good. It is toxic capitalism, but honestly, I'm gonna get jumped by my communist friends if I don't just tell you the honest truth. It's just capitalism. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's just capitalism. We as Americans have been breeded to be individualists. Until you grapple with that notion, it's kind of offensive to think that your society has been designed around an idea that is inherently fallible and leads to so much destruction and devastation as individualism. And yet we've wrapped it in this veneer of nobility. We act like in America, the most noble thing that you could do is to take care of yourself. We have been groomed in this country to believe that the most noble thing that we could do is to take care of ourselves. To the point where we make really ridiculous decisions. Carrie said, do you talk to your kids about this stuff? Why don't you want them to hear? Oh, because I was cussing a little bit. I don't want them to hear me cussing. I talk about this stuff to them in a very practical way that they can understand almost every day. And I'm going to get back to the individualism thing. What is heartbreaking to me, and the reason, like, they're 9, 7, and 2. The reason I talk about this to them every day is because they have been indoctrinated already. My 9-year-old, 7-year-old, and 2-year-old, yeah, even the 2-year-old, they have been indoctrinated already. They want this, they want that, they gotta have this, they need this. Oh, money, you got money. How much money we got? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I know you didn't get this from me. Where did you get it from? Disney, Roblox, whatever the game is called, Minecraft, all of these things that build up, that indoctrinate them to be consumers at the age of 9, 7, and 2. So to answer your question, I absolutely talk to them about this, but I don't talk to them about it with my adult language. That's the only thing. And it is so refined and precise that it's not natural from their desires. It is taking their desires and amplifying it with Disney capitalism. Take away the Disney capitalism, greed and desires would still be there, but it wouldn't be so precisely attuned to say, I want this and I want that. How much money do we have? I want to get this. I want a bigger house. I want this. You know, it's a very specific set of things that they want because they have seen it versus what is in us naturally to desire. There is the greed inside of all of us. My son saw homeless people for the first time, and he instantly tried to figure out, how do we fix this? And his heart was breaking at the idea that there are people who have to sleep on the street. So while we naturally have an inclination towards greed and desire and selfishness, the yin to that yang, or the yang to that yin, the opposite side, that secondary consciousness that is there too, is concern and compassion rather. And what we have been designed to do in this society, I'm about to dovetail it. I love it when a plan comes together. What we have been indoctrinated to do in this society is to cultivate the individualism, to take care of ourselves first. That's what we've been indoctrinated with, versus indoctrination of collectivism, of how we can make a better society for everyone, because that natural inclination is in us too. We have just been groomed and taught how to just absolutely push all of the time to be individualists, to focus on our own individual need and ultimately our own individual greed. The number one thing I know that we're going to have to do, whether we win or lose in November, is that we're going to have to organize more, and we're going to have to leverage power more, not for my self-aggrandizement, but it's so that we can get the message out to as many people as possible. And the more, how do you think conservatism has been winning? How do you think conservatism has been winning? Rush Limbaugh is not Rush Limbaugh just because he's Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh is Rush Limbaugh because he provides a critical service for the right wing in this country. Ben Shapiro, same thing. All of these people who are paid millions of dollars to promote this and promote conservative values and to promote capitalism and to undermine any type of collectivism. The reason conservatism is on the ascent and is winning, so to speak, is because they have organized in every single channel, politically, think tanks, anti-labor unions, the American Legislative Exchange Commission, ALEC. I mean, in every way imaginable, they have organized in media. So when I say leverage this, I mean, I'm hoping that something that I say will inspire you to go and organize and do something. The purpose of it is not to entertain you. The purpose of it is to galvanize all of this energy and for everyone to go out and organize in whatever category you fit best in. I'll see you next time. Love yourself and love somebody else.
Good morning, everybody. Y'all know who it is. Y'all know the voice. Y'all know the sound. James Bubba Williams DJ Xxxclusive is in the building. Happy Pride Month, everybody. Woo! Horn that. Hold on, let me get my horn going on. Hope everybody is doing good this morning. I'm over here sounding like I'm underwater and a robot at the same damn time. And it's pretty damn awesome. I like it. It's okay. But good morning, everybody. Make sure that you stay tuned. On the Clock is coming up next. Good morning, everybody.
She's got what you need. You know she's got everything. So boy, don't you cry. Leave all your worries behind. Just come to mama. Come on. Just come to mama. She'll take care of all of your troubles.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Elizabeth Lonzo, Spin Cycle, Uga Tyra, Randy, excuse me, Boom Boondocks, Roller Dragon, what's going on? Henry King, Juanita, good morning. Melanie Dennis, Tractor Tasha, Onassis, Argus, Nicole Howe. Good morning, y'all. Shade Dragon, what's going on? Trevor, Snack Panther, good morning to you.
She's got what you want.
Ooh, Brandy, see what had happened was. It's coming, it's coming. Brother Bryce, good morning to you.
Leave all your worries behind. Just come to mama.
Mia Edom Taylor, good morning. Tiger, what's going on? Carly Wynn Shelby, good morning. Yes, Trevor Ben has transcended and gone into virtual reality.
It's funny on the line.
Y'all call me iBubba, that's IBN.
She's stressed, but I gotta say that makes me even more impressed. Cause she juggles it all and does it lovingly. And on top of it all, she keeps on loving me. Her eyes, her lips are my desire. She sways her hips and I'm on fire. Yeah, I love her from every angle, but I don't wanna tell her a thing.
Just come to mama. Come on. Just come to mama. She'll take care of all of your time.
All right, y'all, this is going to be a short break so we can make sure that we get on the clock started. So coming up on the clock with Georgia, the community reflects 2 years after George Floyd. Good morning, everybody. Y'all stay tuned. On the clock is starting right now.
Last week marked 2 years since the murder of George Floyd. This morning, we bring you special coverage from George Floyd Square as we speak to community leaders, George Floyd's family, and other people who were impacted by his murder. This is a huge event for the Minneapolis community because this is a time for folks to get together to honor Floyd's life and legacy and to also reflect all of those changes that people talked about making 2 years ago. Where are they at with their commitments? And the theme this year is We Will Heal Us. I'm here with Lisa Kelly. She's the executive director of Memorialize the Movement. And when we think about We Will Heal Us, it's all about us having the solutions we need in our own community to fix the things that are broken and to fix ourselves. You've done that with your organization. You stepped up into action at a very critical time when people were worried about these huge museums coming in and stealing protest artwork. You had no budget, you had no plan, but you made it happen. And here 2 years later, your organization is thriving. For people who are not familiar with your work, can you just give them an overview of how you got started?
Yeah, so Memorialize the Movement is a grassroots initiative that I started in June of 2020 to collect and preserve the plywood protest art that was created during the uprising after the murder of George Floyd. And it really just started as a trauma response. The murals meant a lot to me because they represented not only art and inspiration for us in that time, but like recorded historical record, you know? These are artifacts that tell the story of the Minneapolis uprising of 2020, that tell the story of George Floyd and the emotions that we all had as Minnesotans during that time. And so it's been an incredible experience to collect and preserve them, and 2 years later to be able to continue to look back on them and say, we did this, this is our story, we're the stewards of this story, and we're not gonna let anyone else take control of that narrative.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings us really to the importance of this year's theme for the Rise and Remember Memorial Celebration for George Floyd. We will heal us. Our healing is so essential and so critical in this moment. And, you know, as we think about Dante Wright and George Floyd, there's one woman who really comes to mind for me. Her name is Courtney Ross. She was the girlfriend of George Floyd. If you watched the trial, you probably saw her testify. But she was also the teacher of Dante Wright.
Yeah.
I want you guys to take a listen to an interview we did with her recently, reflecting on what this moment means for her 2 years after the murder of George Floyd. Take a look.
I can't hug him, I can't snuggle with him, I can't feel his like arm around me. He had these arms. He would just kind of encapsulate me. That kind of stuff is hard to get over. Before, I met Floyd, I had a real contentious relationship with God. I was upset with God for taking my father. I still hadn't dealt with that. And Floyd had instilled in me this faith in God and all the wonderful characteristic traits that come with that. Being forgiving, being loving, being caring, giving to those in need. So he filled that up in me during the years that we were together. And I know that was part of the journey to get to the place where I could say, Floyd left us to make a better world for us. I know that. Losing Floyd and what I consider, a new civil rights movement. I thought, especially in Minneapolis, we're gonna see like this radical change. I thought so. I was hopeful. And I don't see as much change that I'd like to see. But I do my best to support the changes in the legislature right now, but I think maybe it goes down like a little bit more simpler than that though, like people's hearts have to change. I still really grieve him. I know people like say things are gonna get better. I'm not quite sure that that's gonna happen with how I feel about him. But I know he is right by my side. I feel it constantly. I loved him through life. I will continue to, and we'll be together in death. And I know we'll be together forever. We were meant to be, and that's pretty powerful.
Song. So I know that they're just getting warmed up. This is not the official show that we're preparing to have happen at 5 p.m. Central. However, I wanted you guys to take a look at that just because the energy here is high. And the Minnesota Orchestra is preparing to perform at 5 along with DJ Sophia Eris and Unknown MPLS. Is going to be a very beautiful and powerful performance this afternoon, one that also is going to center our healing. There's something very universal about music.
Yes.
And I remember even growing up, Lisa, I started my career in radio. I loved being able to just sit in a room for 4 hours. And for me, that was therapeutic. For me, that was healing.
Yes.
What have been some of the things that you have done over the last 2 years to prioritize your self-care and to just help yourself heal from all the trauma we've endured here?
Yeah, music has been a big part of that, honestly. Growing up, every Sunday morning, my grandma would blast like gospel music in the living room, and that's how you knew it was time to get up and clean and go to church. And so I've really come back to that. Even though I'm not particularly religious, over the last year, I have found myself kind of going back to gospel music as a way to find healing and kind of connect with home and connect with the past, this kind of happier time in my life. But outside of that, I've also kind of coined something I like to call guerrilla self-care. And so I book self-care and spa services for myself out months in advance. Sometimes I even pay for them, and then I put them on my calendar and I forget. And that way, even though I'm working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, putting together these large-scale exhibitions, doing workshops, collaborating, speaking at universities, whatever have you, when it comes up, I have to stop and do it because it's on my calendar. It's already blocked off. So whatever else I said I was gonna do, this is already locked in.
Yes.
And so I have to force myself to stop and take a break and say, okay, it's time to prioritize my health. It's time to go see my doctor. It's time to get a facial. It's time to go get some new vitamins or whatever I have to do to preserve my body and my well-being and spirit. And so that's kind of been my saving grace throughout all of this, is kind of giving myself the jump by going and booking things behind my own back.
Yes, you have to put it on your calendar.
Yes.
You know, if it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen. And we do have to prioritize our self-care, because as Black people, we are in this society that, I mean, we're receiving messages everywhere. We're receiving messages. Our babies are receiving messages in school, in the classroom. Our Black mothers are receiving messages when they go into the hospital to give birth. Our Black men are receiving messages when they get pulled over by the police. That our life is not as the same value of our white counterparts. And so one of the things that has been very healing and therapeutic for me is to align with some of our community healers, people who really focus on joy, people who really focus on the practice of healing. And one of those people for me has been trauma therapist and author Resmaa Menakem. He just released his second book, and you know, he's been featured in New York Times on the bestseller list, New York Times, The Square. You know, he's been on The Breakfast Club. Just very amazing. But you know, he told me at the height of the protests in Brooklyn Center, after I had been shot with a rubber bullet, after I had been maced in the face, to stop sometimes. To put your hand on your chest, to feel your own heartbeat, to ground yourself. Sometimes you have to be barefoot with the earth to remember that we're all a part of this globe and that our lives matter. I want you guys to take a listen to a special message of healing and hope from Resmaa Menakem. Take a listen.
First thing that I want you to understand is that you are not defective. There's nothing wrong with you. The things that have happened and continue to happen to your people are real. And on this day, we get to acknowledge the realness of what has happened and continues to happen to our people. With that said, we have to begin to create opportunities for us to heal. That does not mean that we need to forget what has happened. That does not mean we need to take politicians' example of how we heal. We need to emerge that and develop our own ways of healing. And so if I could say anything to you is that your healing matters in this moment. Your pain matters in this moment. Your grief matters in this moment. And we have to begin to deal with all three of those things with each other. We're not the level of pain and grief that has happened to Black bodies and bodies of culture. That level of pain can't be contended with individually. We have to deal with it both individually and together. So my love to you. I appreciate you, and I'm so glad that we're celebrating and we're doing this thing today, because it reminds us of the work that we're doing, that we need to do, and reminds us that we are not crazy and we are not defective, but work needs to be done, not just on our parts, but on the parts of this city and the parts of this of the police departments and the neighborhoods. We are not defective. I love you.
Just look at you.
Welcome back. We are live at George Floyd Square for the Global Memorial Celebration. And this year's theme is Rise and Remember, We Will Heal Us. I have the opportunity to be here with Angela, who is the aunt of George Floyd, as well as his nephew, Roman. Thank you both so much for taking the time. And I think you were going to correct me.
Yes, I was. I'm his first cousin.
And so you're Angela's nephew.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I know that this is an emotional week for you both. Mm-hmm. Can you share as you reflect? It's been 2 years.
Well,
it's been 2 years.
Yes.
What is going through your minds? What's on your heart? And what is the message that you have for our audience who is watching this and who wants to get involved, who wants to help, who wants to be a part of the change?
Well, I think that, actually, I know if you want to be a part of a change, don't be afraid. stand for what you believe in.
Yes.
And I believe if you, like I said, if you stand firm on what you believe in, then you can't fall for anything.
Yeah, you know, it's 2 years has been a process for the family. But not just for the family, for the world. Right. Because they were traumatized 2 years ago and with us. And it's like we're going together with the world in this special way. And I want the world to know that we are so happy that you're keeping us in your prayers. I really do. Yes. And even though it was a difficult time going through this journey, the hope is real. The hope is real. There are laws being changed. The George Floyd Policing Act got passed.
Yeah.
You know, we did that installation, releasing that sign to show 38th Street. You know, in the last 2 years, we've had 6 police officers convicted. That's unheard of. So even though it feels like there's small changes, those are battles that are being won. So the war isn't over yet, but we are making progress, and the hope is real. So I just want to tell people, this is not about anything against white people, anti-white, and whatever you want to call it. It's about change. Right. It's about change and giving people that hope to live for. And just the message saying, we all can live together.
That's right.
We all can live together.
That's right.
We can do this because we will heal us.
That's right. What we need is within us. What we need is within our community. Yes. Ms. Angela, you give me so much hope hearing you reflect on the wins, the victories.
Yes.
And the thing is, change takes time. It's not something that just happens overnight. And there are some people who I have talked to who they're losing hope. They don't see the changes happening fast enough, or they feel like it's out of their reach. It's something that the president has to do. It's something that the mayor has to do. But there is something that we can do within ourselves. Exactly. You know, true change starts in the heart.
Yes, and you know, and it's not just about race. You know, yes, you know what they did with Perry started a huge black movement, and I'm proud of that. But even at your job, when you see something that's unfair and you see a co-worker being mistreated, you can use your voice to make a change for that person in institutions. It's about all around making a change for the better. And I know there are people say they're losing hope. Oh my God, there's another black person being killed. I know it's painful. I know it hurts. But you have to be able to see the progress that's been happening. This is a 400-year thing that we're trying to dismantle.
Yeah.
We can't expect to dismantle something that has been like a sleeping giant for 400 years.
Yeah.
Our death, the death of Perry woke up this giant. And since it woke up the giant, then that leaves us the options, Roman, me, and the world. It gives us a chance to say, you know what, I'm going to do something. I'm going to lift my voice. You know, I'm going to be on alert for inequality and make it right. That's what you have to focus on. You can't focus on darkness. You got to focus on the light. Because in order for that, when Perry was killed, in order for me to focus and to try to make a change within, I had to find my way out of that darkness.
Yeah.
And like I always say, if George Floyd, who we know is Perry, can muster those words on that hot cement and say, I can't breathe, and call out for his mom. Because it takes a lot of courage to say, I can't breathe when you're in pain. If he can do that in that situation, then we can have a voice to make a change and say, I can do this. I would do this. And that's what you got to remember. That's what we got to remember.
Thank you so much. Is there any final words you'd like to leave people with today?
Hey, Tyrone. Come on up here.
You'd like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Tyrone Watford. I'm George Floyd's first cousin. And I'm part of the movement as well, here to support my family. And as my aunt was saying, we're just here to be able to support the movement
What does this mean to you 2 years after his murder, to see the community come together and to see people continue to rally for justice and rally for change?
I say it as his death wasn't in vain. Something good came out of something bad. It was a bad situation, but it brought a lot of people together. And hopefully, with the movement, we'll be able to avoid this from happening to someone else, loved one.
Absolutely.
Well, I do want to say this, and I always stand on this. One person can't do everything, but everybody can do something.
That's right.
And I truly believe that.
I love that.
That's right.
But it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time, but I truly believe that. And I think that's it.
I appreciate it, Roman,
It's been a
Angela,
while
and Tyrone.
Tyrone.
Feel free to share in the comments how you've been healing yourself. This theme this year, Rise and Remember, we will heal us. Everything we need is within us. Everything we need is within our communities. But we want to hear from you all how you are healing yourselves. What's your self-healing journey look like? What's your self-care regimen? What are some of the things that you're doing? I did see Melisha. She is one of the organizers for George Floyd Square. As we're waiting for sound check to wrap up, I would love to hear from you, Melisha, because you have been one of the organizers that's been working with Angela and the Floyd family to preserve the space in George Floyd Square. And that's critical because we need a place. I've heard from so many people, especially during the trial when tensions were high, people would just come here. There's times where I've just come here to sit, to think, to pray, to be in community. And you've been one of the carers of this space. Can you talk about that role and how you see yourself in this larger global movement?
The role itself is just a lot in itself. It's not no specific thing that I'm supposed to be doing. It's more of if I'm needed there at that time, if it's within my skill bracket, then okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that if that's what's needed at that time. And the organizing, communicating with the other organizers, those who are not even a part of the square but is allied with the square, because it took more than the square itself to be able to pull off everything that we've done pulled off for these last 2 years.
I feel like a lot of people, especially if they're not in Minneapolis, not from the city, they might not even be aware of this community that still exists and how for a year, maybe over a year, the space was barricaded and there were 24 demands that were listed before the organizers of this space said that they would take the barricades down. And there's been some back and forth with the city, but there's also been a lot of those demands met. And I know some still haven't been met, but you guys made a difference. And you held space and you're still holding space. Do you ever think in 20 years how historic your role in this movement is? Do you ever think about, like the historical context of what you're doing and your role in this movement?
Not even years from now. I see how my role takes place and how it affects how it affects other people's lives and how they are willing to be more involved, because some people think because they don't live in these 4 neighborhoods that they can't be a part of, or well, I don't call it community, I'll call it village, because it's just different. Community and village is something totally different, and this is not a regular community. So if you can take yourself and be able to be like, okay, just because I'm not there doesn't mean that I can't do something around where I live at to make the change, because it's not just happening here, it's happening everywhere else.
That's right. That's right. This year's theme, Rise and Remember, we will heal us. What does that mean to you?
I think what it feels to me is I feel like it's just another stepping stone to getting closer to the justice, to the change, to the 24 demands being checked off, to us coming more together. It's just another stepping stone to letting people know that the fight is still here. We are still accomplishing and breaking down barriers and stepping over stones and coming together to be able to make things happen. So if we're able to just keep continuing to do that year by year, especially giving people a reminder, because like you said, a lot of people don't know what's going on here. So if we give a big reminder every year, would you forget?
No. Well, and you know, for me personally, I can't forget. Even though it's been 2 years, and I know there's other things that are in the news cycle, there's other things that are...
I don't think I want to forget. Because part of me didn't want to come out here today, but the other part of me is like, why not? Why aren't you there? What reason do you have not to be? And I really didn't have no reason, and we still got things to do. And if we don't continue to show with action, then are we really going to continue to make noise? Are we going to continue to make change if we can just sit around and be quiet? Because I think it's the noise that got everybody's eyes open and wanting to make a change.
That's right. When you think back 2 years ago, I think we all had these ideas and visions of how we thought the world would change in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years. Are we as far as you thought we would be?
I think we're far where we need to be. We are exactly where we need to be. Because it's a stepping stone. It can't change all tomorrow. And like, I think a big part starts with each individual person taking accountability. What part and what role do you play in all of this? Because everybody plays a role in this and what's going on in some type of way, shape, or form. So people really need to figure things out and what they can do. Because it starts with yourself.
That's right. Well, Alicia, as we prepare to wrap things up, my last question for you is, how are you finding joy in this moment?
It's nothing but love around here, especially when I seen you today.
Yes,
it's nothing but love. So I'm happy. I'm happy.
My turn?
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Right, I'll see you later.
Sure. You take care as we're waiting for the stage. As soon as the stage, thank you, Melisha. So as soon as the stage kicks off, we're going to transition there. But since we're in community, hanging out, what's your name, sir?
Kenny Putt.
Kenny, and are you from Minneapolis?
Minneapolis, born and raised in Rockford, Illinois, though.
As a black man, how did the murder of George Floyd impact you?
It affected me. It hurt so bad because I don't like racism at all. So it really bothered me, and I like everybody to get along because my mother raised us up to be colorblind, and that's the problem I have right now. Why everybody ain't colorblind? Why can't we be colorblind and love everybody for who they are and who they are? You know, just be a society. You know what I mean? Just be good and be great to each other. Love each other. You know what I mean? Like I love you.
Yes, absolutely.
That's it. Absolutely. All right, and that's enough for the world. World, let's hold hands and be together and stop the stupidity. You know?
Thank you, my brother.
One love. Love everybody. Everybody stay loved.
All right, well, we do have some performers who have taken the stage. For those of you who are watching, thank you so much. I do want to send a huge birthday shout out to my daughter, Araya. She's 14 today. Happy birthday, baby girl. Mama loves you. I also want to thank Line Break Media, who has been an amazing partner for today's live stream. In the comments, please, I believe we have a link to their Facebook page. Make sure you guys follow them and support them. Today's live stream would not be possible without them. We have a beautiful evening planned for you guys, so we're going to kick it over to the stage. Thank you so much for watching. You've been watching special coverage this morning from George Floyd Square as community gathered to honor George Floyd's life and legacy 2 years after his murder. Stick around for more on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show.
Ooh, that might help if I unmute the music, huh? Good morning, y'all. Y'all make sure that y'all stay tuned. We got coming up next here on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. Good morning again, everybody. Make sure that you stay tuned. Shout out to Georgia Fort for doing the work. Awesome as well, always, as usual. Y'all stay tuned, man. More is coming up next. Like it or not, it's going down.
How you finally feel like yourself when you finally let someone in and give you some help. It's funny how you finally feel like yourself when you finally let someone in and give you some help. Hey,
I've been dancing all goddamn. And Dwayne tell you I was back here rocking by my damn self. Alicia, good morning to you. Variant, what's going on? E. Johnson, good morning. Prince of Judah, good morning to you. Happy Pride Month again, everybody. Here's one for you. What pronouns does chocolate use? What pronouns does chocolate use? Hershey. Yeah, I did it. Hershey, y'all. Hershey. Creative Impact. Good morning, Eric Fuller. Tyra, good morning. The Observer, we appreciate you.
Give me all of your love, 'cause it's burning hot. It's what you do to me, babe, I can guarantee. Honey, I got what you need. Under the night sky, I want your eyes all on me. Don't tell me lies now, I always get mine. Don't play with me.
E. Johnson, that's what I'm talking about. You better change your pronoun. Your Majesty, I hear you. Change your mind to King. King Bubba. Yeah. Mara Sharice, happy Pride to you. Welcome, welcome. Creative Impact, that's what I'm talking about, right? What up, Letterhack in the building? What's going on, Letterhack? That's right, Kang Bubba, K-A-N-G.
Me all no holding back, no. We could take it to the stars where you wanna go. Stop, we can't do, don't need to prove you know.
Henry King, you right, son.
Under the night sky, I want your eyes all on me. Don't tell me no lies, I always get mine. Don't play with me. So do you want it? Do you want it?
Mary C, good morning.
Can you feel me now? Can you handle it? Alright. So do you want it? In the right place to move. In the right place with you. Always stay up all night. Watch the neon light. Touch your one second numb.
El Hustler, good morning to you. Henry King is requesting a dad joke. Sure, why not?
Stay in this moment, just hold on. We got tonight, babe, tomorrow it's gone.
The elderly wife in church turned to her husband and said, I've done a solid part. What should I do? He said, change the batteries in your hearing aid. That's right, Mara. Get them glow sticks out. Give it to me, funky, baby. Let her hack. Let me know when, and I will be there. Give it to me. Give it to me, funky.
Face towards the stars.
When I'm around my Spanish-speaking friends, always use the word mucho. It means a lot to them. Oh God, if my camera dies, it deserves to die. Make sure y'all stay tuned, man. Like It or Not is coming up next. Look like it's just me in the chair today. That's okay. Run through a couple of stories and get the hell up out of here. Chewy Crab, good morning. But I got it. A guy walks into the bank, pulls out a gun, points it at the teller and screams, "Give me all your money or your geography." Puzzled, the teller asks, "Don't you mean history?" The robber yells, "Don't change the subject." Sharice, drop that link.
Boy, you had me from the start. By the way you stared, the way you wrote upon me, yeah. Man, I felt your energy. Wasn't used to being loved and treated differently.
Rolling Dragon, I wish I did get a chance. It's just natural.
Signals got crossed, and now we're on completely different pages. when no one gets hurt. Baby, keep it right there. Don't you stress the flow.
Walks into a bar.
You're trying to pick the pace up. We should take it slow.
I never served a weasel
Baby,
before.
keep your focus.
What can I
Don't
get
you
for
make
you?
me change my mind.
Pop.
If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. When you take me on a trip, always up and down and back and forth in merry-go-round. I just wanna get it right. But when you go left, I'm stuck here feeling left behind. Cause something went wrong.
Has the queen arrived yet, Dwayne?
And now we're going different directions. Let's go where we were when no one gets
All right, incoming.
Baby, keep it right there. Don't you stress the flow. You're trying to pick the pace up. We should take it slow. Baby, keep your focus. Don't you make me change my mind. If you love me, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe. Baby, don't you, baby, don't you, baby, don't you switch up the vibe.
9 a.m. to 10:30, yeah. Like it or not is on your channel, yeah. Politics and culture is we change game like we're supposed to, yeah. Interviews and all the news, we get to choose what gets the views. Like it or not, with Queen Azul, get started now, so stick around. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or really, Dwayne? Y'all stick around. Rebecca's all is coming through. You know she got a good story for you. Oh, Benjamin, that's my dog. This is his show. He's a politics pro. I am your DJ Xxclusive. Y'all know who I am. I stay dropping them jams. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, like it or not, it's starting now. Like it or not, it's about to go down.
Like it or not, with Benjamin Dixon, starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Was my camera lopsided or something this morning? Or is that why I'm a little higher? Let me see. Like, I feel like I'm a little higher than you today. But good morning.
Did you smoke this morning or something? You're a little higher than me? How is that possible?
Yeah, I don't smoke, so
I'm goofy as hell this morning, so forgive me, Rebecca, okay?
So you smoked this morning. Is it 420 for you? Is it giving you 425 this morning?
It's all natural today. I think it's the coffee is a mix of everything. It's like while the videos, everything else is playing, I'm back here jamming Kendrick Lamar and all in my own little world having a good time. Dwayne, to tell y'all, I was back here acting a whole damn fool.
Well, that's all right. I mean, it's feeling a little bit like what Tuesday should have felt like. I felt like Tuesday was forced on us. But before we get there, let me say good morning to the people. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth
and not care who doesn't like it.
Today is June 1st. That means it's rent. That means the rent is due. That means the rent is due. I just want to remind you guys, I hate to put that energy out there. That means the rent is due. Probably other bills are due at the same time, depending how you got your bills on, on rotation for yourself. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean, but I need that to be a reminder, because on the 3rd, you don't want to get paid that extra fee, the 3rd or 5th or however your where you live, how they function. Some people don't have it like that. Some people actually, could do half on this day and then half on the 15th. I wish I had it that way. As soon as I don't pay, I get charged $250 and a fee every day after that. So
right,
can't be putting that in the atmosphere. Can't be late on rent today. But so it's been a lot happening. Yesterday I said it gave us real Monday vibes. And I didn't like that, because if I have Monday off, I don't want my day coming back to feel like, a drag. I feel like they really forced Tuesday on us, and they knew that our weekend would go by so fast that we would probably be trying to force in time with our family, our friends, trying to have as much happy time as we possibly can, especially with the events that we've been experiencing majority of this last month. So I really just don't understand why I feel the way that I feel today. It feels like Monday. But I didn't even do Taco Tuesday yesterday, y'all. I didn't even do Taco Tuesday. Yeah. Say it again. Wow. I can't believe myself. Wow. I didn't even do Taco Tuesday. Pizza Hut. Yeah. I don't really eat that.
It was a bad decision. It was freaking terrible.
Yeah, I don't.
But thank you, Laura and Latif, for lunch. I appreciate it, though.
Thank you, Latif. Thank you for Laura. I did get some cocktails. I did do that, but I did not eat any taco. It wasn't giving me the Taco Tuesday vibes yesterday. But, maybe today's going to be a better day. Maybe today is going to be a better day when it comes to, the feeling. I want it to feel like it's a hump day, right? Today is Wednesday, so it's a hump day. And so I wanted to feel like we're about to get to the end of the week. I want everybody's bills to be paid. Look, lay hands right now. I pray that everybody's rent that is due is paid on today. That's the energy that we're going with. It may be a day where the rent is due, but I hope that everybody can pay it and still have some money left over to do brunch.
Amen.
Okay, so we're back on Texas today. We're not taking our foots off of Texas's neck, and with the leadership over there. But so we're gonna start with Texas governor. So he was rejected in Uvalde, Texas, and we would expect this. We just seen how Ted Cruz was heckled at a restaurant, and I would not expect anything less for the Texas governor, and how, in just in the last few days, he's handled the massacre that happened recently at Abbott Elementary. So let's take a look at how these people received him.
I would like to say that I am sick and tired of the left-wing media, and frankly, people in this room today, spreading misinformation about Wayne LaPierre. Whenever there's a mass shooting, they all say that Wayne LaPierre isn't doing enough to stop these mass shootings, and even implying that Wayne LaPierre has played a part in making it easier for these shooters to get guns, to get weapons. And frankly, that's not true. The NRA, under Wayne LaPierre's leadership, has provided thoughts and prayers to the victims and their families. And maybe these mass shootings would stop happening if we all thought a little bit more and we prayed a little bit more. So I'm asking everyone in this room to think, to pray. Give your thoughts and your prayers and your thoughts and your prayers and your prayers and your thoughts. And if we give enough of these thoughts and these prayers, these mass shootings will stop. So I want to thank you, Wayne LaPierre, for all your thoughts and all your prayers.
We need change, governor!
Wow. What's funny, Rebecca, real quick before you get started, like looking at the crowd, it doesn't even just, point it out firsthand. It doesn't look like those are the people from the community.
You know, I was gonna say the exact same thing. Let me address something first. I said Abbott Elementary, and it's not Abbott Elementary. It's Governor Greg Abbott in the elementary school. To make sure I give the respect that is due, is Robb Elementary School. Abbott Elementary is the show, but. What you said is something that I looked at in looking at it, and from my perspective too, those are not the people that you would think are the ones, and that's because we judge people by their cover, right? We judge a book by its cover when it comes to those type of people. There's a certain look. I ain't even gonna front on you. Those hard down Republicans and those, but I think you know why we're seeing this type of audience here, and it's usually not the same as what we're used to, is because this is the audience. This is the particular audience that has been touched. The same, it's when it's in your backyard now, when it's near you, when it could have been your child, when it was maybe a child that you know, now you are going to join the fight. They always wait until it's come close to their front doorstep or it's reached them, and now they will continue to join the fight. And here, he does deserve exactly what they're doing. I like to see the people of Texas standing up. Many times I've heard these stories, and not to say that I think the people of Texas are just used to and were sick of their leadership, so they learned to live with it. I'm not saying that they didn't want to fight, but they've probably been fighting so much, and they're just like, you know what, let me continue to live, let me continue to get my stuff together. But now I think this is where, what they say, the straw broke the camel's back. This is it for them. This is it. This is like, they're like, no. Now it can't be just coming up for, for commentary, for press, to say that you're giving us your thoughts and prayers in person. No, you're going to come in person and you are going to get the reaction that you deserve. We're going to have to address the situation, and we're going to have to address your poor leadership. And I think this is great about what we did see with this. I am tired of seeing these Texas leaders stroll through after these events that happen. They stroll through for a photo op, and they continue on with their lives. And they have successfully changed the rhetoric, and we have moved on from the many instances and traumatizations that Texas has been going through. We've moved on from it. Not only, just an example, in Buffalo, New York, they want us so bad to move on from this. How can I move on from the fact that 2 weeks ago, 19 kids were murdered and 13 people were murdered inside of just going shopping? Just going shopping for being black. I don't want our leadership to tell us to move on. I want us to be able to move on because we're finding healing and we need to move on in our lives. Personally. I do not want them to force down NRA down our throats and bulletproof backpacks and us resorting to making delivery for our groceries because we can no longer go to, I don't want that to be a norm. Right. I don't want that to be a norm. So yeah, it's really hard, and it's really hard to really talk about and see this leadership. But I am very proud of those people who went out there. This is not to heckle, but to call him out. And I like that. I'm proud of that.
Very much agreed. And I'm glad that they went out there to support them because they're dealing with so much pain right now. They need all the support that they can get. And I've seen several celebrities and stars have gone out there to pay their respects as well, too. So I just hope that something comes out of this and it's not swept under the rug like the many other school shootings that we have had.
I mean, they have tried to start, what is it called? Conspiracy theories since Sandy Hooks and even with the what is it, the Park High School shooting. That one, and they've started conspiracy theories down the line. They've even had conspiracy theories about the Buffalo grocery store shooting. They had we can't do that. We saw what we saw. This happened. We cannot move towards blaming it on mental health issues only. We cannot push towards saying that we need more guns because we see the policies and keeping stuff on the table and not allowing legislations to pass that can protect people. I think that's cruel, and I think that that's what we see standing outside and screaming that governor down. So I wonder what's going to happen in the next few days. I really don't see the conversation moving anywhere, but I said the conversation should be around gun control. It's definitely, we should stay right there with it. We should be pushing for change, not for leniency on how to get guns. That's not what people have been asking for, but that's unfortunately what we're receiving. These are the leaders that we're putting in place. When you put a leader in place and they're not hearing you out, that means you get their behinds out in the next election cycle. So think about that, people. Think about that.
Yeah.
Speaking of
also, go ahead. You go first. I think you're about to say the same thing I was about to.
I wasn't. I know I wasn't.
No, I was going to say you saw also that now the school and also the police in Uvalde are not cooperating any further. So it just makes it seem like it's so much more going on.
Yeah. No, that's not where I was going, but that is part of one of the stories that we're going to talk about as well. You know who said a really great quote for that, though? It was Olay. She actually said even the police don't want to cooperate with the police. And that's a line right there. I was like, okay, you know what? That is something that we should monitor. And what you're talking about is that right now the police are saying that they don't want to be a part of the investigation any longer. So according to ABC News, the Uvalde Police Department and the Uvalde Independent School District Police they're not cooperating anymore. They don't want to. And the elementary school and the state's review of the law enforcement response is multiple law enforcement sources tell ABC News the Uvalde police chief and spokesperson for the school district did not immediately respond to the request for commentary. But this goes to show you that more probing in how they handled the shooting shows why we need to defund the police. This ain't even got nothing to do. This ain't even got nothing to do with them shooting us. This is them not even handling what they're put in place to handle. Just recently, we seen Joe Biden sign more legislation to fund them more. To continue to fund police officers. And I think when we're looking at cases like this, when police officers are just dropping the ball, going and saving themselves, they're supposed to be put in place to serve and protect. We didn't see any of that happening. And this time, there was a probe happening, and they are doing an investigation on how this happened. And we're seeing so many holes and so much lack of experience. Not only lack of experience, people who are just not willing to serve and protect. Just put on this uniform, say I'm a police officer, Blue Lives Matter, whatever the case may be. But here we see that even now, they weren't doing their job. And now that it's actually on national television, we're seeing it's involving kids being murdered. Now there's a probe that's happening in front of the world. And these cops at first were cooperating, thinking that it would die down, like the massacre that happened in Buffalo, but no, it didn't. The probe is showing just so many holes, just so much inexperience. It's a lack of work, a lack of care. It's showing all of that. And so now the police are like, we don't want to talk to police. We don't want to talk to the police about how we policed. And that is very, very telling. And I think this Uvalde, we didn't know about that town before, but it's unraveling and actually showing us so much more. It's bringing up so much different sides of this coin of the conversation, whether it comes to gun control, how police react to these kind of things like massacres, and how they aren't trained for the job. How people are capitalizing on the deaths of these children and massacres every time they happen. So this is what we're looking at right now. And I hope that the conversation continues. But while this unfolds, I really want you guys to focus on how the police are acting.
Yes, most definitely. Funding the police, but you only excuse $10,000 of student loan debt, and then it ain't for everybody. Okay, cool.
Now, before we get over to another story that involves cops, I wanted to point out the reason why I think I thought of Abbott Elementary was because of the woman who made it. Her name is I want to get her name right, Quinta.
Yeah, Quinta Brunson. Quinta Brunson.
Because I was going to add a Quintana, but Quinta Brunson. She actually took to social media not too long ago and was saying how people were asking her. She's the maker of Abbott Elementary, the show, and she was saying how people reached out to her via social media asking her why she won't do or will she do a story at this elementary school, because the show was centered around an elementary school, and at this elementary school about a mass shooting at a school.
What the hell?
Yes, they were pressuring her to do so, and she had said she's not moving forward with that. She doesn't want to do it. Is that something that you would watch, Bubba? Would you be willing to watch a feel-good show, turn a corner, and focus on a massacre of children?
You know, the type of show that it is, first of all, it's a comedy sitcom, so absolutely not. It's not the space for it. And now, if it was something like a Shonda Rhimes produced or directed kind of drama TV show like that, potentially yes, because it fits in that drama aspect. But for a comedy show that deals with like the silliness of school and what teachers go through, I wouldn't do it. It just doesn't fit the mold.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't.
And I'll say this as well too. Just thinking about it from years back, they did one on Glee. I don't know if you remember the show Glee. They did an episode where there was an active shooter situation in the school, but it just turned out that something had failed or something. But it was a lot. It was a lot to watch, and I don't think that. That's not something that, yes, it's real life and it happens in real life, but I don't think it's something that needs to be put out there on TV. It's just a lot.
Especially when her goal is to actually focus on a different, just feel good stories, and even the things that she points out in the show already are hard enough topics that she pulls out to feel good, to make the kids feel good. She's now we see her on box tops, talking about box tops for different elementary schools and helping fund those schools and get teachers supplies in reality, because these are issues that schools are dealing with, and so she's an advocate for that. But to have a conversation or a show centered around massacres, I think it shows how twisted our minds have become and how normalized. This should not be normal, that we're having television shows that are supposed to be about children's elementaries, and we're centering those around massacres. That's it. And I think that she pointed out, we shouldn't be normalizing it. We should be fighting for a change, and we should be talking about gun control and gun laws, and we should be going up to our leaders and calling our leaders and protesting or whatever we can locally, and putting it in our leaders' hands to make a change. Because what is it going to do by putting this on what's supposed to be a feel-good show, a little getaway for 30 minutes away from your reality, but also to point out different issues, but in a way where people can digest it to do better. A massacre is not something that we are not trying to continually digest. We should not make that normal, and we should not pin it on people like her, directors, actors, or teachers to do the duty of our leaders. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't do that. And by that, I mean to keep it in a conversation, and to make sure we feel so uncomfortable that a change happens. That should be in the hands of our leaders. They should feel uncomfortable, and they have the power to make a change. So if we continue to make them feel uncomfortable and we continue the conversation with them, that's where the change should be. Not trying to put it on other folks for your pain or for your pleasure.
Right.
So, yeah. Speaking of cops, though, I said I was going to get back to them. So speaking of cops, there was an incident that happened over the weekend, over the holiday weekend. And in Kansas City, police shot a black woman who had her hands up. I don't like the story too much. I didn't like reading it. I didn't like seeing it. In Missouri, okay, Leona Hale, an unarmed black woman, she told officers she was pregnant just before she was shot 5 times in Kansas City. And this is according to a witness. Leona Hale, she was 26 years old. She had her hands up in the moments before officers shot her in the parking lot of a Family Dollar store on Friday night. A woman identified only as Shadanja had told the Kansas City Star. The witness said that Hale was attempting to run away from officers when they shot her 5 times. The witness, who had gone to the store with her 3 children, described the scene where officers opened fire on a woman who allegedly posed no threat. It's important to point out that the Buffalo shooter was taken alive, and this pregnant black woman was shot with her hands up. Not only that, I actually read the story further on the day that the shooting happened. The woman was in the car where it was suspected to be stolen, and her partner was in the car driving at the time. He got out and started to run. He left her in that car. She got out and said, There's a gun in the car. I have no weapons on me, and I am pregnant. I am 5 months pregnant. And so while she was saying that, she saw them still drawing her weapons. They wanted her to get down on the ground. She said, I can't because I'm pregnant. She saw them still draw their weapons on her. So she started to back up. When she felt like her life was in danger, that was when she took the opportunity to run. She was afraid, right? And they shot her 5 times, a pregnant woman, and still went in to handcuff her. This is all on video. You can hear the eyewitness saying that on the video. Oh my God, how can they have shot her 5 times and they're still trying to handcuff her?
Excessive use of force.
I don't even know where to go from there. A pregnant woman was shot 5 times. The storyline is that the car was supposedly stolen. Who knows if she knew or not knew, but she did cooperate with police officers when she got out the car with her hands up. They tried to get her to go on the floor. She said, no, I am pregnant. I cannot do that. I cannot lay down on the ground. They still laid her down on the ground and handcuffed her after shooting her 5 times. That needs to be said. That needs to be told. Whoever her partner was that fled and left her there, shame on him. But this part of the story, those police officers that did that to this pregnant woman, it lets us know there is value in a white shooter. A woman with her hands up is a threat. A woman with her hands up is a threat. A pregnant woman with her hands up is a threat. What did we scream out years ago? Hands up, don't shoot.
Hands up, don't
that was
shoot.
one of our slogans. That doesn't work for us. That's something that I've heard so many families, even in my family, if a police officer comes up to you, let them know that you have nothing in your hands, you keep your hands up. Your hands being up is a threat. Your hands being up is a threat. After you were shot 5 times and you are down on the ground, you are still a threat. They got to put handcuffs on you. They don't take you to go get Burger King.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was about to say, and you know, from the stories that I've been reading as well too, is that the husband, boyfriend, whoever it was that was in the car, they actually carjacked somebody and took the car. When they got pulled over, like you said, he got out and ran and then left her there. And I'm just like, did y'all even get him? It's just an excessive use of force for no reason. I understand there was a crime, but she ain't even the one that committed the damn crime. Mm-hmm. You shot a pregnant black lady 5 times in the middle of the street.
Did they use the car to run somebody over? Did they, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you guys got them where they were. She was scared for her life. She was pregnant. She had her hands up. She let them know there was, I believe, a gun in the car or whatever the case may be. She was working with the police officer. She was cooperating. And when she saw that they weren't cooperating with her, she was afraid. She saw them, advancing on her with guns. She was afraid. With guns drawn, she was afraid. So, to see that in the video, you could hear the eyewitness screaming out, how could they do this? This has happened to I've seen my own family member die in a similar fashion. How could police officers do this? You can hear the eyewitness yelling that in the video. And so I don't know what's going to come of this. I don't know. We'll keep our eyes locked and, our ears to the street with the story. And while the news continues to develop, we will cover it here. I pray. Yeah. I know that she was recovering in the hospital, but I don't know if, her pregnancy, I don't know what's going on with that. But as we get updates, we'll bring that to you. We gave 2 stories about the cops on today, and none of them were good. I don't understand why we're continuing Joe Biden to give them money when there are so many different areas that need money and so many more causes that need more press. I don't know why we're giving it to officers that aren't doing much with it instead of just still practicing target practice on people of color.
Right. And then every day we giving them all this money, but every day there is something coming out about a police chief that's being fired or arrested for tampering with evidence and prostitution and all kind of other stuff. But yet we still funneling money into these pigs. Okay, cool.
Communities are suffering right now. We have homelessness as a big issue. There's places where people can't eat. Schools don't have supplies. Teachers are asked to do the officer's job and securing their kids, their students. And this is the world that we're living in. But you want to funnel more money into them, and student loans that you promised that we would possibly have paid off. We're still dealing with that. We're still recovering from COVID, and so many people not having money or jobs during that time, and some people still afraid to go into the office and willing, to take a pay cut, in this time. We're still dealing with all these things, and you think that the answer to a lot of these problems are to fund the police. It's a slap in the face.
Right.
It's a slap in the face. Oh, anywho, I don't want to say it, but, defund the police. That's why I gotta say it real, because I was gonna say something else. Defund the police. Defund them. And fund a lot of causes that really matter, other causes that matter. Let's see. I wanted to talk about this story as I talked about Biden. This will be the last story of before we get to the after party, but BTS went to the White House. Let's take a look at what they said. They went to the White House to talk about anti-Asian hate crimes, but let's take a look at what they said.
Yes, and it is a great honor to be invited to the White House today to discuss the important issues of anti-Asian hate crimes, Asian inclusion, and diversity.
June said today is the last day of the AANHPI Heritage Month. We joined the White House to stand with the AANHPI community and to celebrate. Jimmy said we were devastated by the recent surge of hate crimes, including Asian American hate crimes. To put a stop on this and support the cause, we'd like to take this opportunity to voice ourselves once again. Job said we are here today thanks to our army, our fans worldwide, who have different nationalities and cultures and use different languages. We are truly and always grateful. Jungkook said we still feel surprised that music created by South Korean artists reaches so many people around the world, transcending languages and cultural barriers. We believe music is always an amazing and wonderful unifier of all things. Shiga said it's not wrong to be different. I think equality begins when we open up and embrace all of our differences. V said everyone has their own history. We hope today is one step forward to respecting and understanding each and every one as a valuable person. 마지막으로 남준 씨가 중요한 문제에 대해 함께 이야기하고 우리가 아티스트로서 무엇을 할 수 있는지 생각할 기회를 만들어주신 바이든 대통령님과 백악관에 감사드립니다. 감사합니다.
Those are some beautiful young boys.
But, they are. They cool. They cool.
Yeah.
My nieces love the hell out of them. Love them to death. And they made me a partial fan.
Yeah, don't know a thing about them, but I know a lot of people do love them. They're some
K-pop.
Beautiful, handsome young boys. However, why was it given that I was watching something? Were they talking or somebody was translating for them? Well, I was really confused at that part.
At first, I thought the middle one was talking. I don't know his name, and my niece is going to kill me for not knowing his name. But it looked like the middle one was talking at first, but then I'm just like, wait, his mouth not moving no more. What the hell is going on?
I think what happened was that, you're right, the guy in the middle was talking at first, and then there was a statement they had prepared that was read by somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was like, it's giving me like we're on Netflix right now, and we captions like we don't click that, and that's what it was giving just now. I'm like, who's the person talking? But no. They're some beautiful young men. I think a lot of people I don't know them. I don't know their music, but I've seen like a lot of kids and, even adults, fangirl or fanboy or fan over them. And I think that, that's great. I think what the White House is doing right now, what we see a lot of is a lot of celebrities going to the White House. And because TikTok is really popular, it's really good for the tick and talk. It's great. We can reach the young kids and we can, and this particular thing, we see so much more on Asian hate crime. And I've always said, and I'm going to stand on that no one deserves to be played with in this country because of how you look, what language you speak, what color you are. You do not deserve disrespect because of that, because you're a part of a marginalized group. You do not deserve disrespect because of that at all. You don't deserve to die. You don't deserve to get beat up. You don't deserve to be called names. No, protected. America should protect you. There is nothing for African Americans. There's nothing for black people. Nothing. Kamala Harris stated before, and I'm always going to say this one too. Kamala Harris stated as she stated on 1 week, America, there's no racism in America. America isn't racist. The next week, she was signing an Asian hate crime bill. We have been asking and pushing and praying and protesting and doing so much. We, the black people, have the black delegation, the black people who were born black, people who can't hide the fact that they're black, people who can't pass. Black folks have been fighting for protection, crying every time a cop kills somebody black, every time we go somewhere and they're trying to take away our voting rights, every time we are called a name, every time they are paying us less, every time somebody gets away with a murder, every time. Most recently, when hate crimes happen, because what happened in Buffalo at that Tops grocery store, that was a hate crime. Somebody who didn't like black people went and just had a field day, had black blood, made sure it was black blood on his hands. Made sure it was black blood. That was the whole goal. He laid it all out on social media. And there is nothing in place to make sure, y'all, that the person who committed that white boy that committed that crime will actually do the time, will actually be held accountable. What do black folks have that we've been screaming? We've been screaming for protection. We've been screaming for something that protects us when something like this happens. We've been screaming to make sure that we get justice when something like this happens. What do they have in place? After a woman who is Asian and black stated that there is no, and I'm talking about Kamala Harris, our vice president, who knows both sides of the spectrum, who understands what it's like to be black in America.
No, I don't think so.
And now you sit here and say that when somebody presented a question to you and asked you, do you think America is racist after something that happened to black people, you said, no, it's not. But when something happened to Asians, which it shouldn't have, and they should have something that protects them, but once it was the quick movement, the quick feet. Why isn't it the same thing with black folk? The largest minority group when it comes to race. Why isn't it the same thing with them? From the day that we got here, from the day that black people existed in America, we've always been given the least. So, I don't get it, Joe Biden. I don't get it. I need more of not him saying white supremacy, what was the word that he used, is bad or something like that. I need you to say America is racist.
Just say it, bro. Just come out and say it.
These white hate groups exist, and we must do something to stop them. I need that. I need more of I need more people that are in those places to stand beside us and to speak for us. And I say that not because we've been speaking for ourselves. We got no issue doing that. We got no issue doing that. Out here in these streets, you're going to find us. Right here on these platforms, you're going to find us having the conversations. On the Twitter, on Black Twitter, you will see the conversation. Oh my gosh, it could be even trending. Every day I get shadow banned on Instagram. I try to keep it light and keep it cute and show me at the beach, show me eating my food. But sometimes when I have those conversations, nobody sees my page for weeks. For weeks. Every day I get shadow banned when I present these conversations on social media. So I don't understand why when we speak about it, we get a slap on the wrist. We're told America isn't racist. We're told that this conversation is old news. You know, we have to choose our words wisely. We can't be direct in having this conversation. But no, America is racist as hell. And our leadership is afraid to have the conversation. We're having to save ourselves in each and every way, every time. We're looked at as the least. We are the ones that build this cultural thing. If you look at commercials, you're going to hear our lingo. If you look at buildings, you're going to know that was built by black folks. This whole country was built on the backs of black folks, blood, sweat, and tears. And they get the least protection in this country.
So and they got something that's going to tie in to you with exactly what you said. White appropriation and cultural appropriation at its finest. Dwayne, can you play that clip, please? Okay.
That's okay. We have we're at the end of the show. Can we play it in the after party, or do you want to play it on the live?
I'll try. I'm trying to get it in. This is like the 5th time I restarted my computer this morning.
It's a lot. Can they hear you, Jay? I'm about to call you somebody else. I'm about to call you somebody's name that I was with last night. Can they hear you?
Don't do that.
I literally was about to say that. But yeah, we at the end of the show, y'all. We're gonna wait and see if we can get that video up. In the meantime, yeah, man. Crazy.
Calling out names on this public channel, girl.
No, it was crazy. I was hanging out last night, and I was about to literally call you that person's name. That's so funny. But a moment of silence to all them other bros. Look, a moment of silence for all them other bros.
Okay.
I'll be watching. It wasn't your name. It was not your name.
Sorry, it wasn't you. Sorry, not sorry.
It wasn't. Sorry to that man. Sorry to that man.
Sorry to that man.
Sorry to that man.
Sorry to that man.
I made some meatballs yesterday, and I'm really proud of that. And I think I want to do some mashed potatoes as a side today. So I got to make sure I get some time to do that, pack my lunch, and get on the road. But so
I forgot that you got to tick down. Mine be like.
That's the pothole. Child, you know how on my car like I got black Jeep rims on the So I was in Atlanta and I was doing I was working the night shift, and I was performing or whatever, and as a dancer, stripper of the night, a woman of the night. No, I'm just kidding. I was working. I was performing.
Come on, woman of the night.
I was singing background for a Haitian artist, and they had me parking. People think Atlanta is all glitz and glamour, sweetie.
Girl.
So they had me parked up in an area where there were just people just sleeping on the ground on rocks and all kinds of stuff. And the man that was taking my car, I had to keep my keys, honey. I was like, he moved my car, but I was like, because at first I threw the keys to him and went off, and I had to go get my keys because I just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right in my shanana. I came back and it was missing. My black rim thing was missing off the car, and they sold the Jeep piece. So now,
Rebecca, for real.
So yeah, so I've since ordered, and I'm waiting for it to come because now I'm walking around and there's like 3 black tires with the rim thing on it, and one is missing. So I'm just and it bothers me. Like I get out the car, like beep beep, and I'm looking at it like, oh my god, like I look like I don't take care of you. You missing a whole little piece. Like it's just terrible. So yeah.
What's that emoji? That emoji like the little busted face looking. That's on the side of your car. The one time.
Oh, it's really terrible. I like my car to be nice and shiny and cute and whatever. It's giving me just one. It's just 3 legs, three little legs.
And I hate it when they steal that one. I'm like, damn, you couldn't steal all of them. So now I got to buy one. I can't just buy one. I got to buy a whole new set. So now I got 3 extra goddamn hubcaps laying around.
It's true because they come in a 4-pack. So you gotta buy it in that way. So you're right. You're totally right. So that's my little story.
So it looks like we can't get the video right now, so we can go to that.
That's okay if we can't get the videos. We're going to take it to the after show for a little bit. We're going to hang out and have some conversations. You guys, I will be in the chat. I want to read some questions out of the chat. I haven't done that in a while. And we'll have some funny videos lined up for you guys as well. We'll see you in the after party. I love you guys so much. Have a great Wednesday. Bubba, take it away.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much again for joining us this morning. My crazy ass, Rebecca's crazy ass, and Dwayne's crazy ass. It's too many crazy people on the screen at one time. It's ridiculous. Y'all gonna be great, man. Again, happy Wednesday, happy hump day, and happy Pride. Woo, woo, woo. Bah, 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 bah. I feel like doing it because it's all like below my head. Okay, your affirmations for the day. Your affirmation for the day. I deserve the same compassion I give others. I deserve the same compassion I give others. Y'all gonna be great, man. Love y'all. Mean it. If we don't see you at the after party, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Don't forget, patreon.com/liking and not patreon.com/the BPD show. Y'all go ahead and join, man. See y'all at the after party.